Hi everybody, welcome again to another program of Yeshiva Classroom, and you can catch us on Google search by Googling Yeshiva Classroom. Yeshiva Classroom on Google search. Yeshiva Classroom on Google search, and you get the whole program so you can give it to your friends and they can tune in also. You know, we have a lot to talk about today, so I want to get started. And this is not a political program, but I feel that I must speak out against the injustices that are being thrown out by the media against our beloved president, Donald Trump. So, you know, you tune in, for instance, last week there was, I happened to tune in and I saw this news conference where this gentleman from CNN, Acosta, had the phone, and he asked the president several questions, one after another, and during the questioning, he criticized the president, and he never had a chance to answer him because he kept on ranting and raving about how a poor job and to answer these questions and look what you've done wrong. And so the president said, put down the mic because we're going to give it to another reporter for him to ask the question. And the woman was standing there trying to get the mic from him, and he refused to give over the mic. So he said, put down the mic. So then I turned off the newscast and I went to my car, tuned on the radio, and here do we have on CBS? The statement that the president told the reporter to put down the mic. The president told the reporter to put down the mic. Now, the whole thing that went before, no one had any idea of the rudeness and the immoral acts in which he rudely spoke against the president, and all they recorded was put down the mic. Now this goes on for on and on and on. You know, there's a similar scenario in the Torah, right? 5 books of Moses, and over there we have Isaac. He is old, and he is going to give a blessing to his son Esau, but he told Esau to go out and find some food for him, a tasty dish, a very tasty dish. And this can be found in the book of Genesis, right? An event that took place. And that's what he told him. Find a very tasty dish for me, as I can give a blessing after I eat. Now, that's all it speaks of when it speaks of Isaac and his desire for a very tasty morsel. And we may have detractors saying, well, you look what kind of a righteous person he is, the caring only of food. And you might get that impression by reading it. But Isaac was preparing himself to offer a spiritual blessing and also a physical blessing. His entire means were going to be directed at this son, Esau, which will combine his spiritual as well as his physical desires. And what it means is that, for instance, you're going to have a scrumptious meal, a juicy steak, and you're all prepared to have this steak brought out to you. You're in a fancy upscale restaurant, and you haven't eaten for several hours, and your whole body is involved in anticipating this wonderful meat that's going to be served to you. I mean, your eyes light up, your mouth begins to salivate, your juices in your stomach, everything is getting geared up to have this wonderful food. And this involves your entire organs. So that's what Isaac was preparing. He is preparing himself physically, evoking the emotion, evoking physical emotions of gratitude. Evoking physical motions of gratitude. And that is what he's preparing to do for his blessing, to include his physical body as well as his spiritual body. And most of these thoughts that we speak about, and I want you to have a pen and paper ready, because throughout the discussion we're going to give you source material. And basically, just to begin with, get the book Behold a People by A. Miller. Behold a People by Rabbi Miller. And you can get it on Amazon, and you will really get a interesting commentary of Rabbi Miller's insight. And have in mind that this insight was learned out and taught in the Slobodka Yeshiva in Eastern Europe pre-World War II. And the Slobodka Yeshiva got all of these thoughts from their predecessors who originally got it from Sinai, which is the interpretation of the 5 books of Moses, right? The 5 books of Moses, the Torah, which was dictated to Moses before his death by God. That's in Deuteronomy. Write this down. Deuteronomy 31:24. Chapter 31:24. Over there, God dictates the Torah, the Old Testament, the Jewish Bible, however you want to call it, a divinely given gift. And it was recorded by Moses, our teacher, and he transcribed 12 copies, giving a copy to each of the 12 tribes. Now, there is a allusion to the receipt of the 5 books of Moses, aka the Jewish Bible. They're basically 5 books contained in one scroll, from the predecessor of Jacob, when Isaac was a young man and he went to search out a wife through his servant Eliezer and Abraham, and they went to the well of water, which was the meeting place of the shepherds, And there he found someone who would not only give drink to him, but also would give drink to the camels, which he had brought with him from the land of Canaan, going back to Ur Kasdim. So it's interesting to note that he rolled off the stone was taken out, and the water, which was the Torah, signifying the Torah, was distributed to all. And this young girl, Rivka, she was a fiery idealist in that she gave water or Torah to everyone. And it's interesting to note that she was given a jewelry, the nose ring, which was a weight of 5 shkolim, alluding to the 5 books of Moses, and also a bracelet which was the weight of 10 shkolim, alluding to the fact that there are 10 commandments that are going to be given to her offspring. So that's 5 books of Moses and 10 commandments. That's interesting to note. And the same thing happened with Jacob. When he went to search for a wife, he also went to the water, to the well, and uncovered the mouth of the well so that he could give all water to drink, or Torah. So it's interesting to note that. Now, you know, the fact that today we have the media so up against President Trump, no matter whatever he does, they will find something negative to report and not even speak about the positive aspects which are so important to the well-being of the country. For instance, unemployment, record lows, hourly wages high, GNP growing, trade deficits, all kinds of positive achievements that are not even mentioned during the media coverage of President Trump. Only negative things that are inconsciential because they're of very little importance, but they hone in continuously, and this is not fair. And what I propose that President Trump should do each day, at the end of the day, put out what they reported, what the media reported, and answer of how it should have been reported, and answer how it was reported, how it did happen. So, listen, I don't know if President Trump is going to pick this up, but I want to say another thing about President Trump. You know, in the Torah, there is, you can write these numbers down, in Genesis chapter 12, verse 3, and in Numbers, right, the 4th book of the Bible, chapter 24, verse 9. Same pasuk. Pasuk means a sentence. The same sentence is given. Whoever blesses the Jewish people will be blessed, and whoever curses the Jewish people will be cursed. President Trump has gone out of his way and has done what is correct and always stood and back of the Jewish people, realizing that they were given the land of Israel in the Bible. Several places it's mentioned in the Bible the boundaries of 30 in Numbers 33, 1 for instance, but several places it delineates the boundaries of the Bible, of the Jewish homeland, the divinely given land. And the world wants to take it away from them, from us, from the Jewish people, from the believers of the divinity of the happenings, of the events that take place. And this is why it's so important to get out the truth. And, you know, here are people that are defending the land. These are mothers taking care of their children with submachine guns at their side. And they are occupiers, or liberators better, of the area of Judea and Samaria, all the land that was promised to the Jewish people. In Genesis also it gives the boundaries of what is considered the Holy Land as given by God. I have them, but showing the actual maps, but I don't have them in front of me at this point. So that land was given to the Jewish people. They're liberators of the land. And that is so significant. You know, if the Jewish people would be more serious and would be able to learn of their upbringing and background and the divinity of Torah, it would be a much different type of direction that the world would be going into. Because, you know, in this last election, this is being recorded on November 21st, 2018. Last midterm election, there was about 27 House seats which were flipped to Democrats, and they don't make mention that during the Obama administration there were 82 seats in Congress which were flipped to the Republicans. But the point is, if the media would stay out of politics and venting their points which are anti-Trump, there would be a much fairer election. Because right now the people are getting their messages from ABC, NBC, CNN, Washington Post, all negative against Trump. Just character assassination. And they're even talking about impeachment, which the House can begin to do. Yet no one cares about all the accomplishment. Who cares about the accomplishments that President Trump has made for America? You know, it's unreal what he has done in such a short term, and it's a credit to his administration, and I'm sure God will look favorable upon him. And we're not doing our part, because the Jewish people are basically unknowledgeable and ignorant about their basic history and about their Torah, for whatever reason. But now, when there is a chance to bring knowledge to the Jewish people, they're not doing that. The leaders of the Jewish community are not doing that. because what they should be doing and what they are doing are two different things. Because right now, basically, the rabbi and whatever education there is always spoken of by the rabbi or the teacher to the congregants, whoever is listening. Whoever is listening. And the congregants don't have a chance to review, or they may miss a word and they won't get what was given, as opposed to having the congregants take a charge upon themselves to spend at least 20-25 minutes during the day in which they can review a book, like Behold the People, learn Gemara. Everything is in English. The Talmud, Art Scrolls Talmud, everything is in English. It's mind-boggling. It's very informative. It is the explanation of the 5 books that were given of the Torah that was given to Moshe in Sinai, and the oral law, which is now written, the Talmud, was given alongside of that. I want to bring you out to a little bit of historical events. You know, we had 2 temples. The first temple was destroyed by the Babylonians. And let me give you a little bit of history of what happened over there. You see, prior to the destruction of the first temple, there were the period of kings, and there were 21 kings in the kingdom of Judah. Right? The first king was Saul, and then came David, and then came Solomon, and after Solomon was Rehoboam. Now, at Rehoboam's rule, it was always father and son. At Rehoboam's rule, he continued a policy of his father Shlomo with the backing of his peers, Rehoboam's peers, to remain strict and strong against his subjects, that they should continue the buildings that Solomon completed and the completion of his first temple, as opposed to letting the people have it more of a easier workload and time. But he listened to his peers, and he remained strong and hard and harsh, and as a result, Yerovam ben Nevat broke away and formed another kingdom called the Kingdom of Israel. And there, after his reign, there was Nadav, Basra, Elam, Zimri, Amri, and Achav, continuing on. So what happened? This is what he was supposed to do. He was supposed to break away temporarily. He was taught this by the prophet Nathan, who tore off 10 pieces, and those 10 pieces signify the 10 tribes of Israel, which Rehoboam took with him and made a new kingdom. And he wouldn't let the people go back to Judah, but many did so, with the prophet Jeremiah leading them. So what happened? So there were 21 kings in the kingdom of Judah before it was destroyed. And they had prophets who administered to the king. For instance, Isaiah, right? He had written a book of Isaiah. He administered to the kings of Azariah, Nadav, Achaz, Hiskiyahu, right? So what happened? Prophet only follows the law that has been handed down from Moses, does not make new laws, but only encourages, like an attorney general, encourages the king to follow the law as it was brought down by Moses. So that's who Isaiah did. That's what he did. And Hiskiyahu was an ardent follower and kept all the commandments and followed Isaiah to the letter. But after his death, Menashe took reign, and after his death, his son Amnon took reign, and he killed Isaiah. Isaiah was killed, murdered by this grandson of Hiskiyahu. So this grandson Amnon was eventually murdered for this dastardly act. But after him came Jeremiah, and he also prophesied, and being that the kingdom of Judah was going downhill, he urged them to surrender, and the Babylonians were coming down, and they were getting stronger and stronger, and he said, the temple will not save you. You have gone too far off the way of Torah, and as a result, you're going to be defeated. And they threw Jeremiah in jail. And sure enough, the kingdom of Judah was destroyed by Nebuchadnezzar, right? By Nebuchadnezzar. We had the last kings of Judah being Yoshayahu. Not Yeshayahu is Isaiah, but Yoshayahu is a king. His son was Yoahaz. It's two H's, Yoahaz. And his son was Yohakim. And then came Yehoiakim. And the last king was Sidkiyahu. And the kingdom was destroyed, and the Jews were taken back into captivity, into Babylonia, present-day Iraq. So they had a ruling so what happened was that Jeremiah came back with the people, and he fell for them, and he said, build up houses in Iraq and live a peaceful life, and he cried all the way down. And then the king Nebuchadnezzar sent a governor of Israel to govern the land. He was a righteous man, Gedaliah, and Jeremiah was with Gedaliah, but a remnant of those Jews that should have surrendered overthrew the governor, killed Gedaliah, and took Jeremiah with them to Egypt because they were fearful that the Babylonians would punish them for this revolt. Jeremiah died in Egypt. Okay? So here we have the Jews in Babylonia. And there was this prophecy that 70 years there will be changes. Nebuchadnezzar was the ruler, and after him came Evil-Merodach, and then came Belshazzar, and it totaled 70 years. So he made a party because he calculated the 7 years from where he thought it should be calculated. And as a result, he made a party, took out all the silver, kalim, the articles from the bowls and the saucers and the cups from the temple in Jerusalem, and he used them. I mean, those utensils were used to measure the offerings that the